So this is one of my favorite transitions and poses to talk about, especially when I'm teaching a vinyasa flow class. The plank pose to chaturanga movement, which is done so many times when we're doing a vinyasa, very important to do correctly and to do safely. So I'm going to give you a couple of different options. So in this traditional plank pose, that will be kind of a push-up position, but it's a little bit different if you do other exercises and you're used to doing push-ups with hands out wide and bending elbows out to the sides. I do those too. But in plank position in yoga, the hands are directly under the shoulders, so it turns into more of a tricep kind of push-up. So you can do plank just like I'm showing you now, with the hands directly under the shoulders. Again, spread nice and wide, the gaze down. Engaging the muscles in the shoulder girdle, the upper back, and having the knees a little bit back from your hips. Keep the back of the neck long. You might want to gaze out at a point in front of your mat. And you pull the belly in for plank pose, and you hold here. So this is a working pose, even though it doesn't look like much. You're working the muscles in the upper back and the core. For chaturanga, the low push-up position, you'll take your chest forward, so slide your hips forward a little bit. You'll bend your elbows and tuck them in really nice and tight to the body, and you'll lower down nice and slow. And hover, if you like, a couple inches above the mat. And you can come down all the way onto the belly, or you can always press straight back up again, and then maybe take a child's pose. So a nice flow that I like to do here is to come forward onto those hands and knees. Bend the elbows, send the chest between the hands, really hugging those elbows back and tightly down. And then pressing straight back up. And exhaling for child's pose. So you can move like this, back and forth, a couple times. This is certainly an upper body workout and a core workout. And some creaking and cracking is always bound to happen. So you can do your moving plank and chaturanga position that way. Sometimes I call it high push-up to low push-up. For those of you who are feeling extra strong, you can always do the plank on your toes, which means that you lift your knees up off the mat, you draw the shoulders back, you pull the belly in, and you press energy through the heels. And you really zip up that belly away from the mat. Now when you do your chaturanga from this position, your low push-up, you rock yourself forward, and then you bend your elbows. You keep those elbows in nice and tight to the body, and you hold right there. And you can come all the way down to the mat. If you feel really strong, you can press straight back up from your plank position. You lower down to your chaturanga, and you'll inhale straight back up. And from here, you might go into a downward facing dog. So that would be the pattern. You'll come forward. You can always come back down to your knees too. I will, since I'm showing you. Coming down, pressing up, and sinking back to either child or down dog. Depends on how much energy you want to bring into your practice, how strong you're feeling in this particular moment. And one of the things I always talk about with the plank to chaturanga transition is please come to your knees if you feel at all like you're kind of going to just collapse down, right? So I see a lot of students on their toes trying to do the full chaturanga and ending up kind of doing that. And not only are you not really able to control it and move with your breath in that way, but you can see my back kind of rippled out and everything, and you're losing control of your muscles there. So you really want to try to do it with as much control as you can. The other thing I see oftentimes, and I'll turn this way so you can see, we really want to have the elbows hugging in tight. So elbows hug in, hug in, hug in. I'll see a lot of times the elbows kind of turning out, and that actually makes it harder, I think, to lower yourself down. So you really want to squeeze everything in. So anytime you need to, just be on your knees. Come down, build strength. You can always do the next one, especially in a vinyasa class. There's always a next vinyasa when you're doing that transition. So you can do some on the toes and some on the knees. It doesn't have to be the same every time. That transitioning of moving your chest forward, whether you're on the toes or on the knees, will also help to protect the rotator cuff, which often gets injured doing those movements, and sometimes because of a yoga class. So just remember to rock yourself forward, and then hug the elbows nice and tight to the body, send them toward the back of the room as you lower.